Well, we're at the back of the Striker Light campsite right now. This hill's pretty darn gnarly in the dry. It hasn't got a name. No one even knows what this track's called. In fact, I don't think it's been driven for over a year or so because there's trees down everywhere. We've been clearing them every 20, 30 metres. Pretty gnarly in the dry. It's just started to bucket down. Now,
lost all traction.
Yeah, game.
This is one of the harder tracks you'll ever drive.
Game changer. I've pretty much reached the end of my tether here. I'm going to winch up till this point here, and I reckon I can go again. You're up above that. You had to winch down there. So this is every man for himself at the moment. To find out how we got to this point though, folks, sit down, grab something cold, make yourself comfortable. Four-wheel drive action style. Now, Shauno, my job for you, mate, is to grab that winch cable and go a long way that way.
Find a big tree.
Find a big tree. Let's do it.
Get the recovery gear out, boys. It was an early start this morning to meet Warren, our local guide. Now, this guy knows the area like the back of his hand, so I'm sure we're in for a cracker. Graham is back behind the wheel of his D-Max. Nick from Black Series has brought along the Dominator hard floor again, and I've got my big V8 79 series. On this trip, we've decided to head out to the tracks between Stroud and Bulahdelah to explore some of the best low-range tracks close to Sydney. We kick things off from Stroud and head up to Blackgate Road. This will lead us to Striker Light Campground, where we'll set up our base camp. We then explore the tracks around camp, to then wrap it up with the track around the back of Bulahdelah. The Bulahdelah area really is one of those epic four-wheel drive locations on the east coast that people often drive straight past. But this time, we're stopping in to show you just a fraction of what's on offer.
You got a copy there, Warren?
Got you there, Shauno.
Mate, what a lovely day. I'll tell you what, I bet you this leads into a bit of low range. What do you reckon?
Yeah, good little hill climb up here, not too far up on our right.
Has this place got a name, Warren, or can I have naming rights?
Well, we call it Blackgate Trail, so it does have a name, but you can
Name it if you do something silly.
You've been out with me before, haven't you?
Hey, Nico, you reckon that trailer's going to go, mate?
Yeah, I'm fairly confident in the trailer there, Shauno. I haven't made a track so far, I haven't been able to conquer too well with it, so see how she goes on this one.
I like your confidence, mate.
Alright, boys, we're not far off Blackgate.
So we might just stop up here and air down and lock our hubs.
This is it. It's all starting. I get those nervous butterflies. Can't wait.
Yeah, this is where it all starts to happen.
Warren's going to be leading us for this one, and he's in his GQ on 35s with a 5-litre Holden 304 engine conversion. So if he gets stuck, well, let's just hope he doesn't.
Alright guys, we're nearly here at Blackgate Trail. Right-hand turn up the hill and low range and plenty of fun.
I like the sound of this.
Mate, this is not our first rodeo together.
What's your experience around Bulahdelah? Obviously, looks to me like this is a sort of track not many people would even know about, much less drive very often.
Yeah, it's well hidden.
I came up here years and years ago out of Sydney and just spent my time finding tracks and still finding them. It's a great spot.
Actually, I was saying to Shauno just a couple of days ago, this stretch from, I reckon, sort of here, a bit south of here, all the way up to Coffs, it's got to be the
Mecca. It's got to be if you like low range, if you like it tough, this has got to be the Mecca in Australia for low range four-wheel driving up through here.
Loving it. Let's do this.
It's not long after starting the track that we come across an obstacle that Warren warned us there would be no shortage of.
Well, guys, our first of many little
Mud holes is just up ahead, so we might just ease on in and see what happens, eh?
Alright, just chuck the windows up. I don't want to stick around and smell this one if I can help it.
It does smell.
Oh, I can smell it from here, mate. You've got the windows up.
Breathe deep, Shauno, breathe deep.
This one was pretty good despite the smell. It had a solid base and a clean exit.
I think we've got our first deepies mud hole coming up, fellas, so we might just have a little look at this one.
I see what you mean. That looks pretty deep, pretty nasty. There's a couple of different ways you can go too. This really is a choose-your-own-adventure mud hole, but I reckon we'll check this one out first.
Oh, it's getting deep and nasty.
A little bit soft on the bottom is the problem.
It really is.
I've got my 4-wheel action certified mud hole checking stick, and I think we have a verdict.
What's that side like over there? I'm liking this.
You can choose your own adventure here, I think.
I think you can choose your own adventure here.
I might go this one.
You're really heavy though.
I am heavy. I reckon I'm going to sink down. I'm going to have to jump on it. Warren is no stranger to this stuff. With the amount of power under the bonnet, paired with his reduction gears, he's not holding back. You can see just how sloppy this stuff is. Give it another go, mate, and maybe a bit more right boot. That's it, a slightly different line too, and he's through the first bit. Yep, back and forth we'll get him through this one. A couple more hits and he's through.
Well, that's pretty much cut and dry for me. Well, there's nothing dry about it, and he has cut a new track. I'm not going to take that way.
You're not?
I'm not.
You're going in the water?
No. I'm going to build a ramp and a landing ramp on the other side. I'm going to get a run up from down around Foster. I'm going to jump this puddle and land on the other side smoothly. No, I'm going to take that same line on this left-hand side, come through, then cut across.
That's the go.
So you go, right, you're up. I want to hear this thing.
Now, I reckon there's two things that'll hold me up here. The fact that I'm running a 4-ton truck and the rear spring hangers catching out in the ruts.
Oh, this is sloppy.
Not quite there the first time. I'm going to reverse back and see if I can just get that little bit more momentum.
That'll do it.
That's just where you can stay.
That's as far as we're going to go.
Yep, just as I've thought. I've sunk down so much, and even if I did have my muddies on the cruiser, I don't think those spring hangers would give up the fight with the ruts. So it's time to spool out the winch and get the recovery gear. Would you look at that mud? If the cruiser wasn't heavy enough already, it's just got a whole lot heavier. And that really is a testament to how thick this stuff is.
Nice work, brother. It's about time I showed him how to do it, I think. You've seen how they did it. That's wrong. Completely wrong. Watch this.
Yeah, good on you, mate. Keep talking, Graham. I'll just sit back and watch.
Just get rid of that because that's just extra weight you don't need. Never go into a bog hole with a sneeze on board. It's just weight. It's just, you're just wasting weight by doing that. Okay. All right. Second gear low range. And we're going to give it the everything.
Yeah, not quite, mate, but you almost made it further than me.
Got further than I thought, if I'm honest.
Yeah, no, you did. You got as far as I did, nearly.
Yeah, I reckon I'm going to have to winch from here, but I wouldn't. Yeah.
Quite though, I got about a metre further.
No, I got further than you. In far quicker time as well. So when you add all the points up, I won the race.
So we're playing like that now.
Plan of attack from here is actually very, very complex. It's going to take me a little while to describe it, but the basics of it is currently stuck in the mud and I'm unable to go forward. So I'm going to use a winch.
I think Graham had the same problem as me in the rear, and even though the D-Max is a lot lighter, the 31-inch tyres just don't give him enough clearance to get through.
You know, what I really like about the mud out here is actually what I call self-balancing mud. What that basically means is that if you get enough mud on your tyre and around your rim, pretty much around everything that is round at the base of the vehicle, when you get out of here, it self-balances. It actually goes hard and becomes almost like the Flintstones wheel. It's going to drive beautiful when I get out of here.
Okay, Nick's up, and this is where the combination of the auto, 35-inch muddies and a 3-inch lift will really help get that trailer through. And he's not mucking around either. Oh, so close, mate. That was a drive you should definitely not be ashamed of. Well done.
What we're going to do here is use the snatch block. Patrol's a heavy vehicle as it is. When we add nearly a tonne of camper trailer, or maybe even a bit over, we're dealing with some serious forces, so we want to double it back in the name of safety. We're going to put a lot less hurt on the winch too.
Well, where are you at wrong, mate? It's straight out of bog holes and straight into ruts.
Yeah, there's plenty of options here, crossover and ruts, and well, lucky it's dry.
It looks like the kind of clay that if it got a bit of rain on it, you'd just be every man for himself.
Pretty much, I have done it in the wet and that's what it's like.
Would you check out the flex on that thing? He's barely lifting a wheel. I don't think the cruiser would make it look easy on this bit.
There are some ruts up there, aren't there? Look at that. Gee whiz. Yeah, your rear passenger's about to drop back down.
Hang on, let me go and have a look, mate. Hang on.
Yeah.
You want to straddle that? You almost want to come up here. That's it. That's your line. That's it. Now you want to straddle that rut.
Even though the 79 is twin locked, you got to be so careful in these ruts. With the lack of flex and being very tippy on angles, you've really got to pick the right line.
Just gently, gently. Right hand down, right hand. Now left. That's it. All right, I'm gonna have a crack at this little bad boy.
I'll tell you what, as soon as I pick up a wheel in this thing, my heart begins to race. As scary it is having a brand new truck balancing on 3 wheels on the side of a hill, it really is what we live for, and that's why we come out here and tackle these style of tracks. Come on, Graham, you're in for a treat, mate.
Okay, here we go. Shauno made it up there, but I'm not 100% sure I will. Big ruts, they're really big ruts at the base anyway.
I actually reckon you might have this one, mate. That low centre of gravity in the D-Max will help a lot. Yeah, that's it. You can see how little body roll he had, and that just makes the difference when navigating up rutted hills.
That was a good drive. I'm going to claim that. I'm going to claim it myself. That was a good drive. Traction control is really kicking in. You'd be dead in the water without traction control, I've got to tell you. It's a good science. It works. It really does. I don't know how it works. One wheel spins. Little man inside the engine bay says, hey, stop that. Next wheel spins. I don't know. Good stuff. Works. Oh, you get. Yes, you good thing. Yes. Oh, there's a horrible lean here. That's the beauty of an auto. Control. Throttle. It's all good.
This will probably be the biggest test for Nick towing up the hill. If he falls into a rut here, it won't be easy driving out. Warren's up front and he's a good spotter. You can see the concentration on Nick's face too. Mate, that was an absolute cracking drive. And I tell you what, you've got to be thankful for the suspension on that trailer too. Last rut and you're up, mate. This is the part where you don't want to fall in. Ah yeah, just like that. Ooh, that's unlucky, mate. Looks like we've got a bit of work to do here. What we're going to do is winch him out of this rut. It's way too risky going backwards, so if we can get him out on flat ground, it'll make the tyre change a heck of a lot easier.
Definitely off the wheel, mate.
Yep, it is. That's actually, I thought that was a trick only I did.
Yeah, no, look, it happens to everyone.
Yeah,
that's the thing about it. I was just speaking with Warren a second ago. Last time he came up here, it was a little bit wetter. I did 9 tyres off in a single trip up this road here. So, look, it happens to everyone. You've got a heavy vehicle, slid down into the ruts with low pressures, just takes those tyres off it. And you've got a camper trailer as well. That doesn't keep it any lighter.
No, no.
Sort of adds to the weight.
So for anyone, there's no point in even trying to put that back on, so I think we're just going to change it. We'll worry about that later on.
I usually do it back at camp though.
With a cold beer.
With a cold beer or two.
That's,
I like the sound of this.
That's the key. All right, let's get this off.
All right.
Get another one on.
You can see here, we've anchored the patrol off to a stump with the winch. This is a precautionary measure, just in case the jack tips over. Even though we're not winching up, you should always take the same approach to safety. Use a winch blanket, never step over it, and stay as clear as possible whenever you can. Alright, with the new tyre on, we're back in action and headed for camp.
You know, it's really easy to get caught up in the complex nature of four-wheel driving. When I'm in the D-Max, there's a couple of tips that I use day in, day out that I thought I might pass on to you folks. Maybe you'll find them useful. First and foremost, your thumbs. Try and keep them on the outside of the wheel rather than the inside. Especially when the terrain gets really challenging and you're moving around a lot, the wheel can knock around. If your thumbs are on the inside, I've actually had mates break their wrists in hardcore terrain from just that. Secondly, I know I say it a lot, but tyre pressures. I reckon tyre pressures will get you further than anything else in your four-wheel drive. Of course, when you get off-road, match the terrain to your tyre pressures, you'll go a lot further. When you're back on-road, get those pressures back up where they should be, and that will save you money on fuel. How about engaging four-wheel drive? Well, in the D-Max from 2 to 4 on the fly, simply by turning the dial. However, how about putting it into low range to tackle far more challenging terrain? And heck, who doesn't want to do that? So you simply select neutral, and then go from 4 high into 4 low. The vehicle will do the rest, and you are ready to hang on and enjoy the ride.
It wasn't long and we're pulling into camp. Graham's setting up his awning, Nick's setting up the camper trailer, and Warren and myself, we're going to set up our trusty swags. You've got to love that feeling of getting to camp after a big day out four-wheel driving. You crack a few goldies, cook up a feed, and enjoy a night of Graham's terrible jokes. How good is this? After a night of rain, the skies are looking pretty grim this morning, and it's not looking like it's going to clear anytime soon either. This time Nick's leaving the trailer at camp so we can tackle the tougher tracks in the area.
Hey Warren, you got a copy up front, mate?
I do.
Mate, I just want to quiz you about this track. What are we going to expect today?
Oh, we've got a little bit of everything. We can do a few little ruddy bits and a couple of little climbs and some gullies. Got it all, I reckon.
Yeah, cool. Tough little track by the sounds of it then.
Yeah, always good fun, this one.
I reckon we could just about see camp from here. What, we'd be 100 metres from, well, up 100 metres from my swag, I reckon.
Yeah, just about. That's why it's a good one. You can lob in here and set up camp and off you go.
Straight into a creek crossing. Way to rock and roll.
Yep, straight up the side of the mountain.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah.
That really is no joke. 200 metres from camp and we're already hitting the first obstacle.
We've got a couple of trees down here, boys, so we might have to do a little bit of clearing work.
You can see this is a track that really only sees motorbikes.
Stuff up, maybe.
Knock that off there, knock this off up there.
The big problem here is just a lot of vines, a lot of vegetation. I think a tree's fallen down with half the vines of the Amazon on it, and straight down over where we've got to be. So we're going to clear all this up, go back through the original track, and shouldn't be too bad.
This shows just how handy a chainsaw can be. In fact, I reckon every four-wheel driver should probably keep one in the back of their four-wheel drive. 10 to 15 minutes later, and you wouldn't have even known there was a tree down.
Probably more valuable than a winch, that chainsaw at the moment, and I reckon we're going to use it again. When you're only 50 metres into a track and you've already cleared a couple of trees down twice, and they look like they've been here a long time too. I don't reckon anyone's been through here for... Motorbikes have been through, you can see where they've come through, but they don't worry about trees. Four-wheel drives, I'd hazard a guess, hasn't been one through here for a year, probably over a year, so... Looks okay up ahead, but there's just so much of this rainforesty stuff through here, we'll definitely be clearing more, so let's push on, see how we go.
I feel like I'm in the Borneo jungle through here.
Yeah, it's like the winch challenge, isn't it?
And just what Graham's predicted. Although it's not as thick as the first ones, these hanging vines are just enough to rip a snorkel off or catch an awning. You can see Warren knows this area so well. He has a machete in the GQ just for trips like this, and it's guaranteed to come in handy. But we just kept coming up on tree after tree across this track. But that's the great thing. This is the second track we're opening up, and with constant maintenance like this, it allows us four-wheel drivers to keep tracks open for everyone to use. A few more mud holes to get through, and the track was just getting deeper and deeper into the rainforest.
Wow, this is one of those tracks that I just live to drive. It hasn't been driven, I reckon, definitely over a year. The way the vines are down everywhere, trees down everywhere, and now it's starting to bucket down this leaf litter. It's already pretty soggy out here, but this leaf litter means that traction's just about negative out here. This is adventure. I can't say how much I enjoy this. Just froth on it. I love it to pieces.
We've hit the bottom of the valley where there's a slippery entrance to a small creek crossing, and then there's an off-cambered rutted climb out.
You can see with this rut there's a real distinct line here. It's a very committing line, but there's a good line, and that's to stick hard right hand side up here. And the only problem is it's been raining a hell of a lot, and this stuff is, well, it's pretty slippery. It's just clay. First vehicle's probably got a good shot doing it. The second vehicle, not so much, and it's going to get worse from there. I reckon it's going to be very slippery. So what I want to do here is a bit of pre-preparation to try and minimise any damage on the 79 series. So I'm going to try and stick to the ruts, so I can't go anywhere in the ruts, but I need to build this up because it's going to be leaning into the wall, so I don't want that. A few logs, build a bit of a ramp to get that side of the vehicle up and away from the wall here. I reckon we might drive this without damage. Fingers crossed.
The camera doesn't do this section justice. It's slippery, steep, and those ruts are just deep enough to catch our diffs and our spring hangers. This is really going to be about picking a line and committing to it. I'm still in two minds here about my line. I reckon I'll let Warren head up first and then I'll make up my mind based on his drive.
Everything happening here, windscreen wipers, lockers, windows down because we're fogged up from excitement.
You go for it, mate.
Here we go.
The advantage that Warren has here is that he's going up on relatively fresh mud, which means more traction. But he's taken off the top layer and made the track even wetter for me after doing that little water crossing.
I like it when it goes to plan.
And as you can see there, he's picked the perfect line, and surprisingly, he didn't slip much at all.
A little bit of side angle on it, Sean.
Yeah, there is there?
Yeah, just a bit, but you hold your nerve.
After seeing Warren walk up that with ease, I've decided to give it a go and try and straddle the rut.
Okay, here we go. This is a really committing line.
Alright, you can see where I've gone wrong here. I've taken it a bit too high and slipped into the rut. This is not good. And just to make it a bit worse, yep, there was a tyre off the bead in the worst possible spot.
What's the go there, Sean?
Oh, I've just done a tyre halfway up, mate.
Oh, you're kidding.
Luckily, Warren got back quick enough to spot me back onto flat ground, and we can now change the tyre safely. It's crucial when you've got to change a tyre on slippery ground that you take all the precautions you can. In this case, we're using 2 bottle jacks, and even putting the spare tyre under the vehicle and even running the winch out, like we did yesterday, can reduce the danger and damage if the full drive comes off the jack. And we're also digging a small ditch under the hub to allow the new tyre to fit in so we can avoid raising it too much.
There you go, the tyre's back on. A little bit of mucking around. I think this time I'm going to stay inside the ruts because there's less room to fall. So we put a lot of logs in there anyway earlier. So with a bit of luck, it hasn't got too slippery from the rain. We'll give it a very hot go either way.
Have a look at this track. It's absolutely gone to soup. Like anything, the rainfall all around us is based on a huge catchment system around here, and although right now we're on the edge of that catchment system, water's got to run downhill. That's exactly what it's doing right now, running down, feeding that creek down there. When we got here, this was bone dry. Slightly slippery, but bone dry. Had tyre issues and a few other bits and pieces. We've been here for a while now. We got a river where we're going to try to drive. I have a feeling this is going to be extremely slippery. Slipperies. You know what I'm talking about? I'm going to call Sean through, going to keep him in the ruts, going to cross my fingers, but just up there's a great big tree. I'm going to winch him off that. Watch this. Shauno, you got a copy?
Yeah, mate.
I don't know what to say except for good luck.
Yeah, it's like that too, mate. Look, I'm going to go real slow at the start, and if Warren and yourself can just spot me on that little log there, that's the main one I'm worried about, and then we'll see what happens after that.
I think so. Just crawl up here, mate. Stay in the rut so you can't go anywhere, and let's just see how it looks. A bit of left hand down, mate.
After that sketchy first attempt, I'm going for the winch on this second one.
And you're well and truly away from those banks. I'd be tempted to winch from there if you want to.
Yeah, let's play the safety card, mate. There you go. That's what I reckon is a good drive. I'm winching, but look, I didn't do any damage. This is really slippery. You don't want to muck around, so we got past the big bit of the rut, and just that last lip, I've got no clearance for it. So do the safe thing, winch out of here. Watch the other boys have a go.
That's the beauty of a winch. In this situation, it's controlling my direction and keeping me out of the ruts and essentially avoiding all the damage that could have happened.
Well, that is ridiculously slippery. I'd like to say that I could make it up there staying out of the ruts for clearance, but I just don't think I can. I think I'm going to end up in the ruts anyway. So in that situation, I'd much rather start in the ruts so that I don't slide in and do damage as I slide in. Probably panel damage if I was to slide in sideways. So by starting off in the ruts, at least then that's the only place I can go. I can't go anywhere else. I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to make it regardless. So, but I'm going to make it. Watch this. Got this.
Berries, I reckon.
All right. This is going to be a challenge. I love tracks like this so much. This is adventure.
When you're ready, just come on through.
Righto, mate. Look, I'm going to do the same thing you did. I'm going to try and stick in those ruts. I don't think I've got much of a choice, to be honest. I can already feel it's very, very slippery. Traction control's working. Traction control's working in my favour. And I'm up.
Good drive, mate. Good drive.
Nice work, bud.
I'm up. I'm still going. Yes. Yes. Where others winch, the D-Max and I will climb. The word hero gets banded around a lot. Not usually at me.
Come on through.
You know what? Even though the track is extremely slippery now, Nick has just eaten that up for breakfast. Right boot and a weapon of a truck, that'll just about do it. Despite the ease of Warren walking up this track as the rain kept coming down, the track didn't get any less slippery.
As you look, Shauno, I can't see a thing past your canopy.
He's flexing like a mad dog, mate, and looks pretty slippery up there. Yeah, I don't know what to do here, mate, other than get into it a little bit.
If it's slippery for the first car, we're stuffed.
There's a couple of big holes there though.
All right, Warren's up. Let's get the big 79 up there.
You're on a tree right there. Whoa.
This truck just loves lifting a wheel, but I felt a lot safer with this one. It was one of those spots where you can't back off, and the big cruiser loved it.
Yep, that's committing that one.
Yeah, that was. That made me wiggle.
It's going to be interesting to see what Graham does here with smaller tyres than us, but I have a feeling he's going to make it look easy.
Okay, staying in the ruts, I think.
Yeah, he's just not quite managing to get out of the ruts at the right time, and with the amount of water around, it's not worth risking mechanical or even panel damage. Good call on the winch, mate. Nick, I think you're going to need that right boot again, mate. You can see how easy he's taking it. I just can't get over the capability of that truck. Nice drive, mate. With everybody up, it's just an easy cruise back to camp, but not before one last stop.
A bit of an old steel bridge up here. We better stop and have a look at this before we break it with the cruiser, eh?
Looks like something out of an American movie, that does. Let's have a look at it.
Surprisingly, this bridge was in pretty good nick. It looks as if it was built to last, and the fact that it's made from pretty hefty steel shows that it must have carried some pretty heavy machinery back in the day.
That river is a river. It's a really big river. Camp's just up here, isn't it?
Out of the rain, mate.
It is.
Camp.
Yeah, just around that next bend.
All right. Tell you what we're going to do. Here it is, the plan of attack.
Plan.
All right.
Hit me with it.
The plan is you cook dinner. All right?
Plan.
That's a good plan?
You got something prepared, so.
Good. We're going to have a beer.
I'm liking your plan.
I'm going to have a beer because they're all in my Waco. And guess what?
What?
You can start the fire in the rain
Done.
and get all the firewood. We're going to have, I need a lot of coals for tonight. So.
You need coals?
Yep.
Well, let's not stand here then because I've got to build that up in this weather.
All right, let's do it.
Done. Let's get out of here.
Let's go.
Well, mate, the kitchen's all set up. You don't mind if I take over, do you, bud?
Go for it.
Well, tonight on the menu we're going to cook up a nice potato bake. It's a perfect sort of weather for it, and one of the things I really love about potato bakes is they're so easy to cook. There's about 4 or 5 different ingredients, a little bit of chopping involved, but you chuck it all in the camp oven, onto the coals, about an hour and a half later, a few beers, and it's done. How good's that? All right, to get into it, we're going to start with the potatoes. Funny that, potatoes for potato bake.
What are you making?
Potato bake, mate.
Potato bake?
Yep.
You're going to cut up all those potatoes?
I am, I'm not going to peel them though.
Ah.
See, that's why I buy these ones. I think they're Desirees, are they? What are they?
I don't know, mate. I knew a girl called Desiree.
Yeah.
She looked a lot like that, actually. She's very similar. I'll show you a trick with potatoes. You ready?
Oh, no.
I like to do this anytime I can. Just juggle. Whoop, whoop, okay, with that done, I've got the fire going.
All right, mate.
Fire's going, which is actually
Well,
no mean feat in this wet weather.
Do you want to get us some ingredients out of the Waco, mate?
Some ingredients.
Yep.
I think I know exactly what you mean. Goalie?
Oh, yeah, I'll have a goalie.
Done.
I was actually talking about some cream and some,
Oh,
but I'll have a goalie, that's for sure.
do you want a goalie first and you can worry about your own cream and stuff because I've got to go and get some firewood, mate.
All right, I need some coals too.
All right.
One of the key things what you want to do here is you want to cut these potatoes into really thin slices. I like to make them, what do you call that?
Slither?
A slither?
A sliver?
That's the official term, a slither,
Yeah.
a potato.
Want to see another trick?
No, I don't want to see.
I'm out.
Tell you what, there's one in every crowd. If you've got one, leave it at home on your next camping adventure. And there you go, there's about 4 potatoes in total. I reckon we're going to go through about 20 potatoes, a fair few blokes, and plus the camera crew, they're going to eat as well. There's a couple more ingredients which I'll get out of the Waco, and that's all we need for the potato bake. What we've got here is some diced bacon, got some thickened cream, and just some shredded cheese. Camp oven's pretty seasoned from last time I used it. I'll give it a little bit more spray though. The first thing I want to do is grab a bunch of potatoes and start layering them on the bottom. Just make a layer of potatoes. So now we're going to chuck a few onions in. We just want to basically sprinkle those around the potatoes and get a nice layer thing happening. Next up we've got some bacon. Again, just sprinkle a good layer of bacon around, like so. Sprinkle some cheese in, bit of cream. Geez, that's looking good. Tell you what, one more quick ingredient. I'll jump back into the Waco. It's a little bit of garlic. You can't do a potato bake without a bit of garlic. Give him a bit of a spoon through so it evens it out. That's all there is to know about a potato bake. What I'm going to do now is, of course, keep doing those layers until the camp oven's full. Then I'm going to chuck it in the coals. It's quite a big potato bake. I've got about 3 kilos at least worth of potatoes in there. So I reckon about an hour and a half to get it nice and crispy. You don't want to cook directly in the heat of the fire. Just get those coals taken to the side of the fire, chuck it on, a few coals on top, bang, a few beers later, potato bake. What do you reckon, mate? I reckon that has been about an hour and a half.
Way beyond ready. I'm so hungry. There really are. Oh, look out. I dream a genie.
I always found that a little bit of ash on your plate.
Totally fine.
Tell you what.
Totally fine. If I could just move my plate though, because for goodness sake, man. Look at that. I'm just gonna pinch a piece of that if that's all right.
I just love getting to camp a little bit early.
Mate, it's everything.
The camp oven's going.
Yep. Nick, you snooze, you lose. You snooze, you lose. Oh, it's really hot here. Hurry up.
The kernels.
My face is melting off.
How good's that?
Good stuff, mate.
There it is, potato bake in a camp oven with a bit of chicken drumsticks with a satay mix. Cold night, good friends. I reckon it's about as good as it gets, boys. What do you reckon?
I've just burnt the absolute bejeepers out of the roof of my mouth. I've got nothing left.
How good is that? Perfect meal for a big day hitting the tracks tomorrow. What do you reckon?
Uh-huh.
Perfect.
It was time to leave the Striker Light campground and the history it holds and head out to our last day of four-wheel driving. While the rest of us packed up camp and finished brekkie, Graham wanted to do one last thing before leaving camp.
Have a go at this, will you? This is that old bridge we drove across yesterday. As I was coming across it yesterday, firmly in my mind, well, first and foremost, I had camp on my mind and a cold beer, but secondly, I thought to myself, I'm going to come back here, try and photograph this. It really does say a lot about the history of the area. No better way to capture that than on film. All right, now I'm pretty much set up here. I've got my composition right. First things first, as you'll know, all photographers turn their caps around. I've done that. Okay, this bridge, the first thing I saw when I came across it yesterday was the way in which the bridge led my eyes up this track towards camp. Now I've gone the opposite way. We drove that way yesterday, I'm going to go this way today, but when I look at this, I see the bridge leading my eyes further down the track. And I think a photograph that doesn't give your eyes something to firmly plant on and believe in, I guess, within the photograph, leaves you a little bit unsatisfied when you're looking at it. If there's too many things going on, leading lines, which this bridge really clearly demonstrates, these leading lines, gives your eyes somewhere to go. So as soon as you'll see this photograph, your eyes will be led almost like you're walking. I know, sounds a bit romantic, a bit weird, but almost like you're walking down through that path and continuing on. It's going to leave you wondering and wanting to see what's further down there. And I reckon that is what a photograph is all about. It's got to try and tell a story or at least get you thinking. And that's what I'm going to try and do here. So I've framed it up nicely. Now I'm just going to muck around with my exposure settings and just see how I go. With this one, I'm opening it to f8 and using an ISO of 320 and a shutter speed of 1/8 of a second. It's beautiful. And there you go, not bad. I might even put that up at home.
Something I love about these forestry tracks out here, there's just so many different little dirt roads, and I mean, there's a network of dirt roads, and it really helps to have a VMS or unit or some sort of GPS so you can see where you are at all times, and if you're keen to explore some new tracks, well, they're all here.
Before long, we were back on the tracks and back to the deep rainforest-like terrain. This is a sort of area that stays wet all year round. A lot of shade with thick ferns and sloppy mud.
No, it's good to have your windows up, and I'm going to give this left side a bit of a try because I've come to grief straight through the middle there before.
Oh, that looks pretty slippery. He's on the noise.
Warren's straight into it and does it easy. You'd almost think he'd done this before.
Yeah, wait for the front locker there, just in case. Get into it.
This time I'm going in at full noise in the cruiser and getting up that momentum. Not quite. I had to back off at the end there as the canopy almost hit that tree on my driver's side. A bit more left hand down, and this time I'm through.
Oh, that thing sounds like an angry hornet.
That's the way.
I've seen it quite deep in the past, but it'd be good to see what a D-Max is like in there.
And would you look at that, the D-Max just eats it up. Nice drive, mate. Now, let's see if Nick's going to fit around with the trailer.
I don't know, mate. She's pretty tight. So you can give it a go.
Not quite. This one is probably just a bit too tight. We do have another option here, but the mud is a lot thicker on that one. Let's see if the big GU has it.
Drive, drive, drive!
Oh, so close, bud. You're just getting hung up on your diffs there. We'll winch you out and back on the track in no time at all. In this area, it can be so risky winching off trees, and a lot of them can be rotten. So we'll hook him up to the D-Max and just hope Graham doesn't join him in the mud hole. Yeah, at first the D-Max was just sliding backwards, but managed to find some traction, enough for the GU to start moving. And we're done. Bring on that next mud hole.
Looks like it drops off pretty hard through here. Let me take this line up through over a bit. Yep, it's a bit slippery in there.
No, you made that look easy, mate.
Look, I'm driving blind. I'm honestly got no idea what to expect in here.
This little washout is a lot deeper than it looks, so we're taking a side route to avoid it.
You've got a beat.
Ah yeah, that was a tyre. I'm pretty sure that's everyone now except for Warren. This is almost a game of spot the local now.
That's alright, it's clean as.
You can drive on them like that. Can't you? Like for quite a distance.
Yeah.
You can see Warren is doing the right thing here. If the D-Max comes off the jack and his finger is between the rim and the tyre, he'll definitely know about it. So using a stick to clean out the mud is definitely the safest option.
I took a right-hand line to avoid probably the bigger puddle. Coming back in, swinging over to the left, I've just hit a rut. Perfectly hit it. Pretty confident we'll be able to blow this back on because it's reasonably clean despite the amount of mud we've got down there. So I'm going to get the compressor hooked up now. We'll see if we can't get it back on.
Nick really doesn't want to do another tyre, so he's going to hit this one head on. That's it. Ease in and power out. Mate, not only did you drive that well, but it looked awesome too. We've just got one more mud hole to go and we've finished the track. Let's see how we go. The base looks pretty good, but that angle on the exit looks a little bit hairy if you ask me.
Roses are red, mud is brown, windows up and throttle down.
Go for it, mate. I'll be able to hear that big thing scream from back here.
It's all happening here.
Doing something crazy over here.
Ah, the mighty GQ. You've done the job.
Oh, that's an obtuse angle. You're right.
Yeah, that's a little bit airy. Get into that one.
There's that low centre of gravity again. I don't think Graham could even put that thing on its side if he tried. Maybe he should give me a go. Nick's up and I reckon that trailer actually helped him there. It kept the GU straight and it was just enough weight on the rear to keep all the rubber on the ground. With all the mud done, we were just en route to our next track, but we thought we'd just double check our bearings due to a couple of road closures in the area. So it's out with the VMS to pinpoint the turn-off, but then we got some news.
Hey guys, sorry. Hey, sorry, Chris. Fires, bushfires, mate. Massive bushfires. Sorry, mate. You might want to cut there, I don't know. We've got huge bushfires, mate. I just got to go. I'm going to go straight to Newey and drop the car off.
Yep.
And that's it. I'm out.
Yeah,
I'm going to
you
fly
got to
home.
do what you got to do, mate.
I'm going to go.
Yep, just take the D-Max.
Yep.
You got all your camping gear in there anyway.
Yeah, I'm just going to go. I'm just going to leave it at the airport. We'll work it out later.
Done.
Yeah.
All right, mate.
Cool. All right.
Yeah, that's
We'll take
Yeah.
care of things here.
I'm going to go. Chris, you take that. I'm out. We'll work everything out later, eh?
all right. Good luck,
All right.
man.
Cheers, guys.
All right.
Warren,
Yeah.
cheers, buddy. Chris, put the camera down, dude. Cheers, man. What are you doing? You can stop filming now. I'm out of here. See ya, guys. I'll call as soon as I can. All right.
All right,
Nick,
be safe, mate.
Take it easy, dude. All right, I'm out of here.
There you go, eh? Well, we've been following those fires now every time we've jumped into reception, and the fires have been getting closer and closer to Graham's house. When finally he got the call on the sat phone, he's had to literally drop everything and go attend to the place because those bushfires are pretty severe. They're making headlines right around the country right now. So, you know, it's a bit unexpected, a bit of a shame. A bloke's got to do what he's got to do. So, mate, we're going to continue.
Yep.
We're going to continue. We've got a couple of more tracks we're going to hit today. So, what's this next one, mate? We're going up to
I reckon we'll head up the top here and
Sharp's
have a look
Corner,
at
was
Sharp's Corner. Yeah.
All right. I like the sound of that, mate.
Should be nice and slippery.
You know one thing, I know Graham's going to be absolutely devastated. He
Yeah.
can't join us on that trip because he's been looking forward to Sharp's Corner. But, mate, we'll have a lot of fun. on
It'll
his
be here
behalf.
for next time.
It'll be there for next time. We'll let you know how it goes.
Yeah,
We say we lock and load and get on the tracks.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, bud. Since filming this trip, you'll be glad to know that Graham safely got back to WA and his house was spared from the fires. But with bushfires, you never really do know how quick they can change. A short drive through the forest and the turn-off took us down into the valley. So Warren, according to the VMS, mate, this is the track right here, is it?
Yeah, left hand on this sharp hairpin.
Last night around the campfire, you're telling me it's pretty slippery, pretty rutted, and some big hills as well.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of everything. It'll certainly be fun with the trailer pushing us along, but we'll get through, I reckon.
How you feeling, Nick? You up for it, mate?
Yeah, I'm always up for it, mate. I've got confidence in the trailer and the vehicle.
There's a fair amount of leaf litter on the track here, and it's a pretty steep descent down to the crossing too. So we're just going to take this one at a time to be safe.
Nice and firm underneath, so you should be right back there, I'd say.
Pretty steep going down there.
That's the beaut thing about this area. One second you're travelling on a well-maintained access road, the next you've got a low-range descent and a pristine creek crossing. This is what it's all about if you ask me.
Bit of a rocky little crossing in the creek here.
One of the things you really want to do if you do have lockers is chuck that rear locker in when you're going down really steep, slippery stuff like this. That's essentially what a locker does, really. It keeps those wheels spinning at exactly the same time, and I find it keeps it a hell of a lot more stable and controlled when you're coming down really steep descents. Oh, look at this creek. Yeah, it's quite beautiful down here, mate.
Good little spot, isn't it? The creek's a bit grubby after that rain, but it'll clean up nice in a day or so, I reckon.
How's it all travelling back there?
Yeah, the brakes work so well. It's almost at the point where it's holding the vehicle up, so I don't even have to worry about the vehicle, really.
I've got to say, it does look pretty controlled back there. Seems just doing it pretty easy.
We're on the home stretch now. Warren tells us we've got one last challenge ahead of us. Bring it on, mate.
Righto fellas, this will be our last little obstacle, I reckon. A bit slippery down into the creek here and some ruts to flex them up on the way out.
Watching Warren go over makes me think of yesterday's hill again. Hopefully he doesn't bring too much water up on the track. At least it's not raining, I guess.
Look at your thing's flex. Didn't even lift the tyre.
That's just wrong.
Nice drive, Warren. You really have built this truck for this type of terrain, haven't you, mate? Okay, let's not repeat what we did yesterday and get up this one in one go.
Yeah, I'm coming up. Oh, that's a big rut. Holy dooly.
My big issue is that there's a big hole at my front left. As soon as the rear goes in, it won't want to come out.
Yeah, I might just have a look at this one, mate, because I can see the canopy. It doesn't look like it's got a lot of dirt between there and the bank.
Now, I've just got to keep a set of eyes on the back left now. It's not too bad an angle, believe it or not. I did feel a bit weird coming through there. I tried to ride it out.
Definitely had some wheels up there, Shauno.
It just slips around a little bit. Here comes Warren now. The biggest concern is not too stressed, but I just don't want the canopy to hit the ground because that's where you start doing damage.
What'd you do that for?
I was in the line.
So if we go left hand down and forward, she'll level off.
All that weight over my rear axle is what's stopping me here. I think I'm just going to have to look at another option.
Just going to quickly try the Max Tracks. It needs to climb out of a hole, and it's just not quite doing it. What we want to do is make the vehicle climb out of this hole and at the same time jump up on these ruts. So the Max Tracks, they don't just work in sand, they don't just work in mud, they also work in ruts as well. We need to make a little ramp and also get the vehicle to steer on this slippery rut to get it up out of the rut.
And there you go, how easy was that? Max Tracks are just one of those bits of gear that can be as valuable as a winch. And in this situation, they worked an absolute treat. Let's see if Nick can pull off something here. It's slippery, rutted, and he's towing, but he does have flex, lockers, and muddies. I don't know, mate, but let's give it a go.
Right. You sort of almost had that, mate. The amount of flex in this thing in the rear is incredible. What you want to do is you're on the right line, you just got to commit to that line a little bit more. That's it, that's it. Straighten her up.
We might just have this. Ah, bugger. That just shows how slippery this really is.
All right, this is where a heavy vehicle with no flex comes in handy. A nice winch point. We can't really winch to the left or right because he's going to pull him offline. He really needs to straddle that rut straight. So onto the back of the Land Cruiser. Let's go.
Slow and steady and a bit of spotting from Warren up in the trees, and he's back on track.
Just straight now.
Good thing he's got that independent suspension on the Dominator. It's ruts like this where that really pays off. Well, there you go. We had to do some creative recoveries to get through that one, but it was all in good fun. It's the final climb out and we're back onto the main road again.
Bulahdelah, who would have thought of it? It really is New South Wales' best kept secret. Right in between Sydney and Brisbane, it has absolutely everything us four-wheel drivers absolutely live and breathe for. Great free camping, and also some of the toughest tracks on the East Coast. It really is a best kept secret, guys. It's got clay ruts, it's got big hills, water crossings, and insane hill climbs. This place really does have it all. So do yourself a favour, lock in the hubs and get up to the hills behind Bulahdelah and see this place for yourself. Well, I reckon that's enough from me. I might go down the hill, have a few beers with the boys, and I'll see you around next time. What do you reckon, fellas? A few beers?
For more on this adventure and to find out the details you didn't see on camera, read Graham's article in the magazine. And believe me, you'll want to know this stuff. If you enjoyed this DVD, don't forget that every episode of Full Drive Action is available for download in HD from our massive online library. There are over 100 episodes available for your viewing pleasure. Also, if you want to keep up to date with Full Drive Action, then like our Facebook page. There's over 1 million four-wheel drivers on that page, and trust me, there's going to be something for you. You'll get heaps of videos, epic pictures, competitions, and heaps more. Get involved, you won't regret it.